My girlfriend, F24, wants to set boundaries that I, M24, feel are unreasonable. First off, some context. My friend, M24, and I, M24, work in the same area, but different companies. This leads to us spotting each other from time to time. The most common way one of us gets spotted is while on a street that can be seen from the other's office window. Anyway, the first time I spotted my friend through the window, I took a picture of him and sent to our friend group's Snapchat group. This started a tradition of us sending a snap of the other every time we see them in the wild. With that out of the way, this is the situation. Yesterday me and my colleague, F25, let's call her J, had lunch at a lunch cafe near our office. Our team, 6 people, go to this cafe every Wednesday. It's become a tradition. However, yesterday we were the only ones at the office, combination of remote work, sickness and meetings, so we were the only ones at the cafe. My friend happened to walk by, saw us through the window and sent a snap to our group. When I came home, my girlfriend, F24, immediately asked who the girl in the picture was. She sounded upset. I told her it was Jay from work and that we were out for lunch. I also told her that we usually go this place on Wednesdays with the entire team, but this day it just happened to be only me and Jay at the office. My girlfriend thought it through and basically told me, "Okay, I trust you. But in the future, could you refrain from going out for lunch if it's only you and a female colleague?" This is somewhat paraphrased. I was a bit taken aback by this. My girlfriend has never before shown jealousy in this way. I guess she hasn't really needed to. Just to make sure, I asked her why and she told me, "It's just weird, you know?" To which I said that I don't know. I don't think it's weird. To me it's more weird that she thinks it's weird. I asked her if she would mind if I had lunch alone with my other colleague, M22. "No, that's okay. It's not the same." I then asked her if she was okay with me grabbing lunch with my childhood friend, F24. Of course. She has a boyfriend and you've known her for ages. This made me feel even more conflicted as she acknowledges that I can hang out alone with a woman with it being non-romantic, yet she doesn't want me to do that, with my childhood friend being the exception. After discussing this for about an hour, I just told her, I won't avoid hanging out with someone just because she's a woman, and I think expecting that from me is unreasonable. Again, somewhat paraphrased. This made her angry. She more or less told me that it's 1, not unreasonable, it's just common sense, and 2, that me not respecting her boundaries tells her that I don't respect her enough to show basic human decency. We ended up agreeing to disagree and discuss this again at a later point, then went on to order takeaway and watch Netflix for the rest of the day. For extra context, we've been together for almost 4 years, we live together, and she has never shown any signs of jealousy before at all. While I am curious what others think about the subject matter, hanging out one-on-one with some of the opposite gender, this is not an "Am I the asshole" post, and that is not why I'm writing this. What I want advice on is how to handle a situation like this. I want to respect my GF's boundaries, but in this case I just don't think it's reasonable. But I don't know how to argue that without coming off as disrespectful or selfish. She probably had a knee-jerk reaction to seeing the pic that upset her. And she wants to avoid that feeling in the future. She's saying, "Don't do anything that might make me feel that way again." I don't think I'm a jealous person. So when I do feel jealousy, it throws me. I'm not sure who I'm angry at or why. I just know it feels bad and I hate it. Boundaries are not rules that you put on other people. Boundaries are to protect yourself. I'm extremely proud of you for standing up for yourself. The only one setting boundaries here is you. I am proud of you for standing up for your autonomy to hang out with your friends without silly rules. I found it unreasonable. After COVID, I've had lunch breaks 1 ton of time. Not a lot of people in the office, and you just go to eat with who is there. Was I supposed to eat alone? But I don't tolerate irrational jealousy in my partners. I'm pretty clear about that. I broke up with someone who had the same boundary as your girlfriend. For me, it was an incompatibility, particularly since I'm in a heavily male-dominated field and grabbing lunch or dinner with colleagues is a good way to network. I wasn't willing to change my behavior and he wasn't willing to change his perspective, so we couldn't be together. I'm not sure if that's the best solution for you too, but it's a possible path forward. Seeing you out with another woman that she doesn't know was a bit of a shock to the system. Also, please realize that everyone that saw that photo has added their own narrative, right or wrong. Also, please realize that this is how rumors and gossip start. Also, please realize she may have to defend all of this and that some folks are going to treat her as if she's clueless. I'm not saying that this is right, just pointing out it will happen. Take this into consideration when dealing with this issue and put yourself in her shoes. I, 28M, want out. But I can't find a good time to tell her, 45F. I've been dating a woman for about 3 years now. It started off great, but over time there's been a lot of changes that I have issues with. Politically she's become very far right compared to when we first met. Anti-vax, freedom trucker, Canada is becoming communist China, that sort of thing. Because she refuses to get vaccinated, she's stopped receiving secondary education and is working a minimum wage job living paycheck to paycheck. She keeps adopting pets despite not being able to afford them. She has also taken to questioning me with horoscope videos that she watches on YouTube, asking if I'm cheating on her and want to break up because our age difference based on what they've said about my sign that day. I've watched her go from being a wonderful woman who loves animals and her family to whatever this is. We don't share the same values. I'm not seeing any desire from her to improve her situation, and frankly most days it feels like I'm dating a conspiracy theorist. Problem is, I can't seem to find a good moment to sit down and break up with her. Anytime I think there's a moment of calm, something happens. Her pets die, there's a cancer scare, someone in the family passes away. Most recently she's been finalizing a years-long divorce with her ex-husband who she's been living with and now needs to find a place to live in a city where she'll have to downsize a lot in order to afford. I don't want to break up with her while she's in a bad spot, but I'm having a real heck of a time finding a time where she isn't in a bad spot in some shape or form. How do I go about splitting up, and when would be the right time to do it? Make yourself a priority by realizing you are in a worse spot. The best time to break up was yesterday and the next best is today. It'll never be calm. Rip the band-aid off. I've come to realize this relationship isn't what I want and I'm ending it. I wish you all the best. Grab your shit and leave. Done. Asking if I'm cheating on her and want to break up because our age difference based on what they've said about my sign that day. I mean, there's a frequent opening for you to get out? All you have to do is say yes next time the horoscope cheating gets mentioned. Just blame it on a horoscope, but you gotta leave. She ain't your monkey, my dude. Holy shit, where to even start? My F27 fiancé, M30, ended our engagement and 5 years relationship 3 months before the wedding. I've been with the same man for the last 5 years. We loved each other so much, our bond was unbreakable, so I thought. We had a huge engagement party with our family and friends and they all came and celebrated with us early December. He then moved to a different state for work and began talking weird, as in being disrespectful, passive-aggressive whenever we spoke over the phone, and out of nowhere he stopped calling me. I tried to ask him what was wrong but he didn't really give much of an answer, so I got upset of the way he spoke to me, but then I decided to forgive him because I thought maybe he's stressed. However, he then decided to end things abruptly and say I disrespect him, and when I asked him to give an example of what I did, he bought things that I jokingly roasted him about 3 years ago and a fight we had 2 years ago. I've been so confused where the hostility is coming from and why now when we're engaged and having a wedding in 3 months would he suddenly want to have a fight about things from 3 years ago. I asked if he's met someone in the new state he's moved, but he said no, he just doesn't think the relationship would work long term. After 5 years of being together, him voluntarily doing a surprise proposal. I am not sure why he would blindside me and our families like this. I don't know how to process or what to even think. I'm completely broken and I don't know how to move on from it. I really believed I found the one, he was my best friend. I put all my trust in him, I really thought I was safe and put all my eggs in one basket. I'm so confused and deeply saddened and broken. I have had suicidal thoughts, but I prayed. I gave him 2 weeks hoping he'd change his mind, but he hasn't. He still wants to go ahead with ending the relationship. Even though there's no valid excuse. I feel like I'm being gaslighted and punished for not taking the disrespect. I don't know what to do. He moved away and moved on. He may have a new person he is interested in, or maybe he just felt happier being newly unencumbered in a new state. He's grasping for reasons to let you go where he isn't the asshole, which is a really shitty move. He should man up and just tell you what's really going on. He owes you that after 5 years, but you can't make a person leave a relationship with integrity. You mentioned that he doesn't have a valid reason to end the relationship. He, and everyone else in the world, doesn't need a valid reason to break up. You shouldn't get hung up on that part. Start referring to him as your ex in your head and begin grieving the end of this relationship. I'm so sorry you're going through this, you really did deserve better. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he met someone where he lives now. I think he's trying to make you out as the bad guy to justify the breakup, and he's going to pop up later with someone he met out there. It's hard, but you need to move on. Marine who would do this is not worth keeping, and better he goes now than when you have children and joint assets. I promise you will eventually look back at this time and laugh. I'm sorry that he unexpectedly broke up with you. What should you do? Mourn the loss of the relationship and move on. Don't try to get him to stay. He is being confusing, but he has his reasons. It wouldn't be good for you to continue to try with him, just for him to break up again later. I wish you well. Most likely, he cheated or got a crush on someone in this new place. It has nothing to do with you and it doesn't reflect on you. You are 27. You'll get over him and find someone better. I gave him 2 weeks hoping he'd change his mind. Don't do this to yourself. You cannot forgive this. Cancel the wedding, but only tell your guests. Let him deal with the fallout and work for his side of the guests. Don't waste time trying to rationalize this. It has nothing to do with you or what you did. He is just an asshole. He absolutely met a new woman he wants to date, or he's already cheating. He's been treating you badly because you're the annoying obligation keeping him from enjoying his crush. I'm sorry. My boyfriend, 32 male, wants me, 31 female, to move in with him but is $40K in debt. Am I crazy to move in with him? For reference, I live comfortably on my own. If I moved in with him, I would save $400 or more a month, essentially, paying rent to him rather than what I pay to my current landlord. I do love him and see a future with him, however it's only been 9 months of dating. It's not a thing of feeling sorry for him, but financially it'd be comfortable for him and even more for me. Edit. Since there's been a lot of questions on regards to what the debt is from, I thought I'd add it here for clarity. It is a $40K line of credit. Half, maybe more, of that was home renovations. Some was car expenses he couldn't afford up front. He does have some student loans, not sure if that affects the line of credit. I'm smart with my money, just don't know a ton about these kinds of things. And the rest is just miscellaneous spending over the last 5 years. No gambling, no addiction. Nothing like that. Just not the smartest decisions, could have made better ones. Give it some more time and pay attention to his spending habits. Tell him you are open for the idea but not quite there yet. He'll be $40K in debt whether you move in with him or not. Now, having only dated him 9 months makes it kind of too soon move in. You should only move in because you want to move in. You don't sound like you're ready to move in with him, to be honest. If his debt worries you, it could help to have a conversation about how he intends to pay it off and when. Because if you stay together it could get in the way of your plans as a couple. If you have to ask, then you obviously have reservations. Don't do it. This is only my opinion, but it may look good on paper to move in, but what about when he starts asking you to loan him money for this bill or that item? Money that you're never going to get back because either you live there too, or, but don't you love me? So the money you think you'll be saving, you really won't be saving anything but actually spending more. Before you argue this point, remember that he's $40K in debt. How do he got that way? Is it all school loans or is it credit cards? Gambling? Think about whatever it is. You're only 9 months in. I'd wait and see if this is going to be a long-term relationship or not before making such a commitment. Have you discussed what your rent includes? Discussed how chores will be split? Be clear that you do not pay for renovations on his house? A lease agreement?